When God removes people from your life, it never feels like a miracle. It feels like a mistake. It feels like loss, confusion, or even betrayal. You sit with questions that echo louder than the silence they left behind. Why did they leave? What did I do wrong? Why now? But listen closely, because this part is important. When God subtracts, He is never punishing you. He is protecting you. He is redirecting you. He is preparing you. Some people are removed because you would have never had the courage to walk away yourself. You are attached to their presence, to the history, to the comfort, even though it was quietly draining your spirit. So God steps in gently and sometimes violently and says, "This chapter is over. You don't see it yet, but I do." There are people whose season in your life has ended, but you're still trying to keep them in the story. You keep replaying memories, rewriting conversations, trying to glue back something God Himself has already separated. And every time you try to bring them back, the weight gets heavier, the piece gets smaller, and your spirit whispers, "This is not for you anymore." When God removes someone, He is clearing the noise around you so you can hear what He's been trying to say all along. You only realize how loud their chaos was once the quiet arrives. Suddenly, your mind is clearer, your emotions settle, your direction becomes visible. And you think, "Why didn't I see this before?" Because you weren't supposed to. Not then. Not yet. Sometimes the people God removes are not bad people. They're just not aligned with the future He's building for you. They were perfect for who you were, but not for who you're becoming. They fit your old wounds, your old fears, your old version, but they can't walk with the healed you, the growing you, the rising you. And hear this carefully. God will never take someone from your life without sending growth into your life. He removes relationships but gives clarity. He removes attachments but gives identity. He removes distractions but gives purpose. You don't lose people. You lose burdens. You lose delays. You lose cycles. You lose versions of yourself that you should have outgrown long ago. And here's the twist. You don't notice the blessing immediately. You notice the emptiness. But emptiness is not punishment. Emptiness is space. Space for new friendships. Space for healthier love. Space for peace. Space for the person you're becoming. God is not asking you to grieve forever. He's asking you to trust. Trust that the same God who closed that door knows exactly which one He's about to open. Trust that He saw conversations you didn't hear, intentions you couldn't read, and futures you couldn't see. So the next time someone walks out, fades away, or disconnects without explanation, don't chase, don't beg, don't break yourself to keep what God is trying to replace. Take a deep breath, stand tall, and say, "If God took it away, then I don't need it. If God removed it, then it was blocking me. If God ended it, then something better is already on the way." Because when God removes people from your life, it's not rejection, it's redirection, it's protection, it's preparation. And one day you'll look back and say, "That exit was the beginning of my elevation." When God removes people from your life, it can feel like the world is turned upside down. It can feel like loss, like abandonment, like something has gone terribly wrong. You may find yourself asking over and over again, "Why did they leave? Did I do something wrong? Why now, after everything we've been through?" Your mind replays memories, conversations, moments of laughter, moments of trust, and it hurts. The pain is real and it is raw. It can feel confusing and unfair because the human heart naturally clings to connection. But the truth, the deeper truth, is that when God removes someone from your life, it is never random, never accidental, and never a punishment. It is protection. It is redirection. It is preparation for something far greater than what your limited vision can yet comprehend. We are often blind to what's harmful in our lives. We grow accustomed to routines, relationships, and people that may no longer serve our best selves. Some relationships are like clouds in the sky. They drift close, they provide shade, and sometimes they bring storms. And for a long time, you may not even notice the storm brewing because you're too busy seeking comfort in familiarity. You convince yourself that the chaos is manageable because the person is familiar. You cling to their presence, to the history you've built together, to the laughter and love that once felt like home. Beneath that surface, your spirit knows the truth. Beneath that surface, there's a subtle erosion of your joy, your peace, and your sense of self. And God sees that even when you cannot. Sometimes the people He removes are not bad people. Sometimes they are kind, generous, loving, and well-intentioned. But God removes them not because of who they are, but because of who you are becoming. They were perfect for who you were yesterday, but not for who you are becoming tomorrow. They fit the version of yourself that existed before growth, before healing, before transformation. And God knows that in order for you to evolve, you cannot carry attachments that tether you to old patterns, old wounds, and old limitations. They may have been your comfort, your joy, or even your home, but they were never meant to accompany you into your next level. Think about it for a moment. How often do we hold on to people long after they've stopped contributing positively to our lives? How often do we replay memories and cling to moments that have already passed? We do this because our hearts are wired to love and to hope, but God's timing is different from ours. We cannot always see what He sees, cannot always understand the design of the universe He is orchestrating on our behalf. And so He removes them, sometimes gently, sometimes in a way that feels abrupt and painful, but always intentionally, always wisely, always in your favor, even if your emotions cannot recognize it at first. The moment someone leaves your life is often the moment your real growth begins. It is the moment the noise, the distraction, and the unhealthy patterns are cleared away. When they are removed, you are forced to face yourself. You are forced to confront your fears, your doubts, and your unhealed wounds. You are given the space to reflect, to understand, and to rebuild. And though the process is uncomfortable, it is necessary. Because without the removal, without the clearing, you may never have seen the road that God is preparing for you. God removes people from your life to teach you about your own strength. He wants you to realize that you are whole on your own, that your joy does not depend on another person, that your peace, your growth, and your destiny are not tethered to someone else's presence or approval. There is a profound lesson in this. Freedom, clarity, and personal power are often only realized when God removes what is no longer meant for you. And when you finally embrace it, you realize that the void left behind is not empty. It is filled with opportunity, possibility, and potential. Many times when someone leaves, you feel a sense of betrayal or rejection. You think if they truly loved me, they wouldn't leave. If this was meant to be, they wouldn't walk away. But what God is teaching you is different. He is teaching you that love is not about holding on. Love is about alignment, respect, and growth. Some people are only meant to accompany you for a season, to teach you lessons, to challenge you, to help you heal, or even to prepare you for greater blessings. Once their purpose is complete, they are removed, not because they fail you, but because their role is done. And your role is to trust the process, even when your human mind struggles to understand it. When God removes people, He is also creating space. Space for healing, space for clarity, space for new opportunities, space for relationships that truly align with your purpose and your growth. You may feel lonely at first, but loneliness is not a curse. It is an invitation. It is an opportunity to get comfortable with yourself, to understand your worth, and to build a foundation that does not rely on anyone else. Because when you are ready, the people who are meant to enter your life will match the energy, the vision, and the growth that God has been cultivating within you. They will complement your journey, not distract from it. They will add value, not drain your spirit. And you will recognize them immediately because your heart has been refined through the removal of those who were not meant to stay. There is also a divine protection and removal. Some people may have seemed harmless, but God knows the consequences that would have unfolded if they had stayed. Some relationships may have appeared supportive, but in reality, they were slowing your progress, clouding your judgment, or keeping you from the destiny that was waiting for you. God sees the unseen, understands the unspoken, and knows the hearts of every person who enters your life. When He removes someone, it is often to protect you from pain, from heartbreak, from stagnation, or from a path that would not have served your highest good. And though it may hurt in the present, the pain of removal is far less than the pain of what could have been. You may ask, but why does it have to hurt so much? The answer is that growth is rarely painless. Transformation is rarely comfortable. Elevation comes with challenges, and part of that challenge is learning to let go of what is no longer yours. Pain is the teacher, and removal is the lesson plan. The absence of a person, the ending of a chapter, and the closing of a door are all instruments used by God to shape your heart, your mind, and your spirit. And the beauty of this process is that once you trust it, once you embrace it, you realize that every removal is a blessing in disguise. God removes people to remind you that your destiny is bigger than your attachments. Your purpose is bigger than your friendships. Your calling is bigger than your comfort zones. When you begin to understand this truth, you will no longer cling to people out of fear, insecurity, or familiarity. You will no longer settle for relationships that dim your light or hinder your growth. You will no longer try to hold on to what God has already released. Instead, you will step forward in faith, knowing that He is orchestrating your life with divine precision. In that moment, when you finally release the need to understand, to fix, or to reclaim, peace will enter your life. Clarity will enter your mind. Joy will return to your heart. And you will see that the removal was not a loss at all. It was a realignment. It was the necessary pruning that allowed you to grow, to flourish, and to step into the life that God has prepared for you. You will look back and see that every person who walked out, every door that closed, and every connection that ended was part of a perfect plan. So, when God removes people from your life, do not despair, do not cling, do not seek to reverse His work. Instead, trust that His removal is His provision. Trust that He is protecting you from storms you cannot yet see, preparing you for blessings you cannot yet imagine. A. And D. Aligning your life with a future that exceeds your present understanding. It is not rejection, it is not abandonment. It is divine care, divine wisdom, and divine love. And one day, when you look back, you will understand why He removed them. You will understand why the timing was necessary. You will see that the space, the clarity, and the growth you gained were far more valuable than any relationship, any presence, or any comfort that was lost. You will smile, not because you forget the pain, but because you recognize the purpose. You will thank God, not just for what He gave you, but for what He took away. When God removes people from your life, He is not ending your story. He is rewriting it. He is refining you. He is preparing you for the fullness of joy, peace, and purpose that only He can provide. And when you finally trust Him completely, you will discover that removal is not loss, it is elevation. It is not the closing of a door, it is the opening of a destiny. It is not the absence of people, it is the presence of God in ways you never imagined. So breathe, stand firm, and release what has been taken. Because what God removes from your life is never meant to hurt you, it is meant to set you free. And when freedom comes, you will finally walk into the life you were created to live. You don't lose people when God removes them from your life. What you lose is something much deeper, much more subtle, and much more necessary than the physical presence of a person. You lose burdens. You lose delays. You lose cycles that were holding you back. You lose versions of yourself that were unhealed, unrefined, or unfinished. And you gain something priceless in return: clarity, peace, growth, and space to become who God created you to be. Think about it for a moment. How often have we clung to relationships out of fear? Fear of loneliness, fear of being forgotten, fear of the unknown. We hold on to people even when their presence drains us, diminishes our joy, or limits our growth. We tell ourselves stories about love, loyalty, and commitment, when deep inside, our spirits are quietly asking for freedom. And God hears that quiet cry. He sees the weight that you are carrying, the emotional baggage, the unnecessary drama, the distractions, and He steps in to remove it. He removes not out of cruelty, but out of love, not to punish, but to protect, not to take away, but to prepare. When God removes someone, it is an invitation to release what no longer serves you. Often the relationships we hold on to are tied to old fears, insecurities, and patterns. They may have been comforting at one point, but over time they become chains. They bind you to the past, keep you stagnant, and prevent you from moving forward. When the person leaves, you may feel empty at first. You may question whether the loss is a mistake, whether the removal is unjust. But that emptiness is not punishment, it is space. Space for growth, space for healing, space for clarity, space for transformation. Loss often teaches us to confront ourselves. It forces us to face the habits, emotions, and thoughts that we have ignored or suppressed. When someone leaves, you realize how much of your energy, your focus, and your identity you had invested in them. You realize how much of your peace you gave away without even noticing. And in that realization, there is freedom. The freedom to reclaim yourself, to redefine your boundaries, and to prioritize your own well-being. God uses removal to guide you back to yourself. He uses absence to help you remember who you are without the influence of others. There is a profound lesson in this. People are not always meant to stay because your life is bigger than any single connection. Some relationships exist only to teach you, to challenge you, or to prepare you. Once their purpose is complete, they must leave so that your life can evolve. Clinging to what is no longer aligned with your path only delays your progress. God knows this. He sees the road ahead that you cannot yet see, and He removes the obstacles, sometimes in the form of people, so that your journey can continue unhindered. Every person that departs from your life carries a message. Even if you don't understand it at the moment, the departure is not random. It is intentional. It is divine. Sometimes the lesson is about self-worth. Sometimes it is about letting go of control. Sometimes it is about trusting God's timing. And sometimes it is about making room for the people, opportunities, and experiences that are meant to walk with you into your next season. You may not see the blessing immediately, but trust that the space created by removal is filled with potential you have not yet imagined. When you lose someone, it is natural to grieve. It is natural to feel the sting of absence. But grief is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are human. And in that grief, there is growth. Grief forces you to confront reality, to process emotions, and to understand the depth of your attachment. But once processed, grief also teaches resilience. It shows you that you can survive loss, that your joy is not dependent on another person, and that your peace is not conditional. When the grieving period ends, you emerge stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the guidance of God. God's removals are also acts of divine protection. Some people may seem harmless, but God knows the consequences that would have come if they stayed. Some relationships may have appeared supportive, but in truth they were slowing your progress, clouding your judgment, or keeping you from your true purpose. God sees the unseen. He understands the unseen influence, the unspoken intentions, and the invisible barriers that you cannot yet perceive. When He removes someone, He is shielding you from storms you cannot yet anticipate. He is preventing setbacks, heartbreaks, and delays that would have hindered your journey. The absence is a safeguard, a divine intervention that often feels painful, but is always in your favor. When you accept that loss is not punishment but a redirection, you begin to experience freedom. You begin to understand that your identity, your joy, and your destiny are not tied to other people. They are tied to God and to the person He created you to become. Once you embrace this truth, you stop trying to fix what is broken, stop chasing what is no longer meant for you, and stop clinging to what God has released. Instead, you focus on your own growth, your own healing, and your own alignment with the path He has prepared for you. The emptiness left behind is also a powerful teacher. It allows you to discover what truly matters, what truly nurtures your soul, and what truly aligns with your purpose. You begin to discern between relationships that are nourishing and those that are draining. You begin to value quality over quantity, depth over familiarity, and alignment over attachment. And in that discernment, you develop wisdom, self-respect, and a heightened sense of spiritual awareness. You learn that God's removals are never arbitrary. They are strategic, deliberate, and designed to elevate you. One of the most important realizations that comes from losing people is understanding that every ending is a beginning. The space they leave behind is not empty, it is a canvas. It is a blank page on which God can write new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities. You gain the chance to invite people who are truly aligned with your growth and purpose into your life. You gain the chance to explore parts of yourself that were previously neglected. You gain the chance to step into the fullness of your potential without the weight of attachments that were holding you back. It is also important to understand that growth requires pruning. Just like a tree needs branches cut away to grow stronger and bear more fruit, your life sometimes requires removal. God trims relationships, removes influences, and closes doors to strengthen your roots. The process can feel painful, uncomfortable, and even unfair, but the purpose is always growth. The purpose is always alignment. The purpose is always elevation. And when you trust this process, you realize that what seems like loss is actually liberation. Ultimately, when God removes people from your life, you gain more than you lose. You gain clarity about your purpose, awareness of your worth, and insight into your path. You gain freedom from distraction, freedom from emotional baggage, and freedom from attachments that limit your growth. You gain the opportunity to walk into new seasons with a lighter heart, a clearer mind, and a stronger spirit. You gain the ability to cultivate relationships that truly align with your values, your goals, and your calling. And when you look back, you will see that every person who walked away, every relationship that ended, and every connection that dissolved was a blessing in disguise. They were part of the divine plan to shape you, protect you, and prepare you for a higher purpose. You will see that losing people was not a tragedy, it was a strategy. It was the clearing of space for the life, the relationships, and the opportunities that God had reserved for you. So when someone leaves, do not grieve forever. Do not cling to what is no longer yours. Do not try to understand every detail or fix every situation. Instead, take a deep breath, trust the timing of your life, and embrace the space that has been created. Know that you are gaining more than you are losing. Know that the removal is not punishment, rejection, or failure. Know that it is an act of love, protection, and preparation. When you fully grasp this truth, your perspective shifts. You begin to see endings not as losses but as openings. You begin to recognize that God's removals are not taking away your joy, they are making room for it. You begin to understand that the space left behind is not emptiness, it is potential. You begin to trust that every person who leaves is making way for something better, someone better, and a life better aligned with your destiny. And in that trust, peace will enter your heart. Clarity will illuminate your path. Strength will rise within you, and joy will return, not dependent on anyone else, but rooted in the divine alignment of your life. The people God removes from your life are not gone to harm you. They are gone to protect, to guide, and to elevate you. And one day, when you look back, you will understand that losing them was the most powerful gain of all.